Hello everyone, my name is Dylan Runge, and my argument is, does location impact the potential for a career in forensics? The reason I chose this subject is because, in my UNIV course, we were going over a chapter on security in a job. Not security as in like protection and all, but security as in, do you have a job waiting for you, or do you have employment always available for you for your career? Some people they think that the most important thing about employment is making sure your job is stable. That you won't get fired, that the demand is just right. You won't get laid off. They want that sense of stability and security in their lives. So I guess the reason why I chose this subject is because I would like security in my life with my career. I don't want to be going to school for my dream job and then turns out that I can't even work because the demand is too high, too low, sorry. Some keywords I looked up while finding my sources were, some of the obvious were forensics, employment, even, the branch of forensics, so toxicology. I even looked up narcotics. There's a broad amount of things that you could search and you can find something like I did. Going back to location, the reason why I also thought it was important is I was doing another project for UNIV, and I came across the salaries for forensic scientists, nationwide, but within the state and in the valley, and the results are pretty shocking. The national salary for forensic science is $70,298. State would be $45,330, and for the valley, it was very underwhelming for me to find out. I went in with high expectations, thinking that it would be pretty close to the state salary, but it's not. In fact, it is $26,795. Although my sources didn't directly approach my argument, I did manage to link them to my argument in a sense. Mainly, I mentioned how important forensics is in certain locations. For example, you would not have an anthropologist. They're everywhere, but generally speaking, you wouldn't have an anthropologist in an urban type of environment. Instead, you'd probably have them in a more rural location. One thing I did mention are the pros and cons of location. For example, like I've already mentioned before, the salaries. If you're into that, if you're doing the work for the salary, for the pay, then the valley, for instance, would not be for you. In other cases, a city, maybe Dallas, Houston, would be paying a bigger salary. Maybe you want to work there instead. It all depends on the individual. If salary isn't your main concern, and you like toxicology, because toxicology and narcotics are kind of a hand-in-hand thing, then maybe consider working in the valley. You have that as your specialty, plus, there's a lot of drug-related crimes. They go hand in hand together. You can definitely find employment like that. It all depends on the forensic scientist's speciality, I guess you can call it. Some locations of employment for a forensic scientist could be a police department, a hospital, a crime lab. That's usually the most common, and federal agencies. And federal agencies usually, they deal with all types of forensic scientists, but they more specifically they lean towards those with a physics background. So those who are firearm specialists and ballistic experts would usually be found in a federal agency building. Forensic scientists who work in crime labs usually have a background in biology or chemistry, but it's not always the case. Also, like with police departments, You have like a broad spectrum of scientists who may or may not work in the building. And finally, hospitals, as I mentioned. Um, when you think of hospitals, you would probably never imagine a forensic scientist working there. The morgue is usually where you could find them, analyzing the body, remains, whatever it may be. With all that being said, this concludes this video. If you want to see my public document, I will put it in the description below. Also, I will put the link in the Reddit when I post this video. That is all. Thank you.